Hi, friends. Welcome back to Sorta Awesome. I'm your host, Meg Teets. I am so happy to be joined this week by my dear friend, my longtime co-host, and the creator of simplyrebekah.com, Rebekah Hoffer. Hi, Rebekah. How are you?
Good. It's so good to see your smiling face today.
I know. We were just saying it's been a hot minute since we recorded together. So I'm really happy to be sitting here chatting with you about something that I think, like my face, how is this possible? My face already hurts from smiling and we just now hit record. How?
I told my mom what we were going to be recording about today, and she's like, okay, well, yep, that's you. That fits.
Well, you probably know because you hit play on this episode that we're talking all things silly this week on Sorta Awesome. I was inspired by a past episode that I recorded with Kelly. Rebekah, I was unprepared for how far back in the Sorta Awesome archives this episode was, but we did an episode called Keep Awesome's Weird, which was kind of inspired by Austin, Texas's whole, city motto of Keep Austin Weird.
Yeah.
We did Keep Awesome's Weird. Listen to me when I tell you that episode 107 was in August of 2017.
That's crazy. We've been doing this so long that our own podcast is making us feel old.
That is true.
I think that's a sign of success. So good job, Meg.
Hope so. Thank you. Thank you for that. 2017 feels like so long ago, but I am going to link to that episode in the show notes because I believe that episode holds up to the test of time. And so anyway, I just thought that was so fun. And I did something happen to me in the past year where I had like one of those realization moments where I laughed at myself so much and felt so silly. I'll save that story for later in the episode. But yes, we're talking all things silly. Rebekah and I have some things to share with you guys, either things that we've done or found ourselves saying that we're just like, oh my gosh, I feel so silly right now. Also, some things that we might really love that other people might find silly, but frankly, we do not care. We're going to talk about some of that. And we asked the awesomes for some of your silliness. So we will be sharing silliness from the Awesome Nation as well. All of that coming up today on Sorta Awesome. Welcome back, Awesomes, to the show that is all about helping you be smart, strong, and social. If you have been looking for a community of women that you can connect with that are going to support you no matter what age or stage of life you're in, I'm really happy to tell you that you've come to the right place. We would love for you to connect with us outside of your podcast app. So wherever you're listening right now, we are so happy you're listening. Maybe you're even watching us on YouTube, but come and join us in one of our social media. Come and join us in one of our social media communities because that is absolutely where the real awesome magic happens, especially, Rebekah, as you know, this time of year. I open up Facebook, go directly to the Hangout, as is my habit, and it's just like all summer, all the time. People are traveling and they need feedback. They need recommendations. They need logistics support, all of that. People are navigating life at home with their kids. I mean, there's just like all the summer stuff you could possibly need. We're there for each other. I also am like, I've got some questions for the awesomes. We're all in there all day posting. So, and helping each other. So yeah, come over to Facebook and search Sorta Awesome Hangout, or we have a link in the show notes for you where you can find us over there, or come find us on Instagram. We're adding some awesome to your Instagram feed every day on Instagram at Sorta Awesome Show. So Rebekah and I do have lots of silliness to get into later in the episode. But Rebekah, first, let's go ahead and start this show the way we always do with our Awesomes of the Week. If you are new to Sorta Awesome, Awesome of the Week is the moment in the show where we stop and talk about whatever's making life just a little bit more awesome right now. It could be a book or a movie, a podcast, a product, a TV show, a recipe, something that's bringing that gold sparkle to our days. Rebekah, what do you have for us this week?
Okay, well, I have been holding on to my Awesome of the Week for quite a while. It is the Hayden crossbody bag from Universal Thread that you can find at Target. Okay. This is only $25, and I've been using it for about a year, and I really love it. Now, it is not a fanny pack. It is like a crossbody purse. And I know that like fanny
Okay.
packs have also like they've been like dubbed like crossbody bags. This is a purse that you can use like crossbody with the strap. So this is a good
Love it.
alternative for those who maybe are not quite ready to adopt the
Hmm.
trend of the fanny pack.
Yes. Okay, look, so just to make a distinction, because the
Yes.
fanny pack has evolved once it came back into style a couple of years ago. So it went
Yes.
from that to now people are wearing them and calling them front packs, which I saw a ton of when I was traveling with my daughter earlier this month. I think they really are so great for travel, but it's like the fanny pack style, but you wear it, but it's like right on your body, like the front
Yes.
pack. Like
Yes.
it's your
Yes.
purse,
Right
but your
across the
baby
chest.
wearing it.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Okay. This is not that. Instead, it is a small purse
Right.
and it has a strap that is intended to go across the body. So
Yeah,
here's the
yeah.
story as to why I started using and loving this purse. Last year I was trying to find a new purse. I am not a purse person. I have been using like the same purse I got like on discount forever and ever and ever. My friends and family hated that purse and I just continued to use it. And it was like the smallest little thing. It was awful. I finally threw it away, but maybe I should have like put it in a keepsake box because it was like that much of
I
a token of Rebekah.
I am trying to imagine what a purse could do to offend friends and family. Like how bad was it? Did they not like it because like you couldn't find anything in it, or it was just like they were like, honey, no, get it's time to upgrade. It's time to
I think honey,
elevate.
no. I
It's time
mean,
to
it was
level up. Okay.
green. So that was part of it.
I
It was green.
love a
And
green purse.
it was like I don't even know. I'll have to see if I can find pictures of it. it was it was it was bad. So anyway, I had some credit on Stitch Fix and I was trying to find a replacement bag. I was like, it's time. So I ordered two different options and I polled my Instagram followers on my stories which one they liked best. And I got
Hmm.
a lot of feedback that I should return both of them.
Oh,
And
shoot.
yeah, but frankly, they were right. I had a smaller purse that was really more of a clutch, and it once I put some stuff in it,
Mm,
it just wasn't big enough for even my most basic of things. And I was used to
no,
a
no.
small purse. I was a small purse
Yeah.
girl, and it still was just too small. And then the
Yeah.
larger purse, it actually was a tote bag, and it was like way
Oh,
bigger
no,
than I
no.
anticipated. It was too much.
Mm-mm.
I didn't
Yeah.
want to carry around
Yeah,
a
yeah.
tote bag.
No, no.
So an awesome Carrie, she reached out to me. She says, I'm not a purse person either, but I find myself sometimes wearing and using this crossbody bag from Target, and it kind of completes the outfit. She says, like, I feel slightly dressed up rather than just having my keys and my phone stashed in my pockets. And it's not high fashion, but it looks like I cared a smidge. And I was like, perfect. That's what I'm going for. I just need to look
Yes.
like I cared a smidge. So now this is
Yes.
small. It's not huge by any means, but I have a demo. Look, it fits my rather small notebook that I use for my bullet journal. So it fits that.
Nice.
It fits my Kindle. I had so many people asking me, Rebekah, how do you carry a book with you if like it's not going to fit in your purse? Well, I never had a purse big enough to fit a book or a Kindle in it before. So this is like life changing.
Yes.
And there's still like so much stuff in there. Anyway, I really, really like it. I feel like it's a great, just casual go to carry stuff around with your purse. I have it. This color is the cognac color, which is like a leather brown, but it also comes in black, olive green, leopard print, and white. And it's available at Target for just $25.
Nice. I love a crossbody bag. It's my very favorite style of purse, and I have had many through the years, but I'm always looking for another one, and the price point, honestly, cannot be beat. So
Yeah.
great find.
Thank you. And thank you to Carrie for the recommendation. She saved the day.
Absolutely. Yes. Okay. We'll have links in the show notes for that if you guys want to go check it out as well. My awesome of the week, I feel sheepish. I feel apologetic in doing this because I am doing back to back Netflix show recommendations as
What
awesome of the
is
week. I can't
going
help it.
on with you and
I don't
Kelly
know.
this year? This is like the year of
I
television. Are
know.
we in the golden era of TV again? What is happening?
Well, now, Kelly does keep saying that. She's like, there's just so much good TV. Like last week on this show, she was saying that, and it is true. And I had a Netflix show last week, Never Have I Ever, season 4. And I'm apologetic, but also not sorry because truly my awesome this the week this week, I love it so much. It is the show Queer Eye, and it's season 7 of Queer
Okay.
Eye, which just came out last month on Netflix. So, do you watch Queer Eye, Rebekah? I don't know. We've never really talked Netflix shows.
Okay, I don't. Now, I know that like
Okay.
originally it was on like TLC or something, right?
Bravo.
Bravo.
Bravo back in
Okay.
the day.
Listen, I
Yes.
have not had like full cable access like ever in my life. So there was like a lot of shows
Yes.
I did not watch because I literally did not have access to them.
Got it.
And then when they did
Makes
like the
sense.
reboot of it, I just didn't jump on that train.
Okay. Well, I did watch the original Queer Eye for the Straight Guy back in the, I want to say it was the early 2000s when that show came on and it was on Bravo. And I've just kind of been hit or miss with the Queer Eye reboot on Netflix. But the timing was just right that I have been just a variety of things, including traveling, which it kind of helps me take my mind off my travel stress whenever I can watch shows or whatever. Plus, I had a hotel room to myself, and I was just like, that's it. I'm catching up on all of the television.
Nice.
So, yeah, that was so fun. But anyway, Queer Eye season 7 is out. Like I said, just came out last month. And so we have our whole returning cast, the Fab Five. We have food and wine expert Anthony. We've got fashion stylist Tan, grooming guru Jonathan, interior designer Bobby, and culture and lifestyle kind of specialist, I guess you could say, Karamo. And they are back, and this time they're in New Orleans. So there's like such a fun kind of like party atmosphere from the beginning. In fact, the first episode of season 7, they make over the boys of Lambda Chi Alpha fraternity, which I was like, this is not a crossover that I ever thought I would see. It was so good. It was so good. Give me just a second. And I think that's like the magic of Queer Eye is it pairs together this Fab Five with people that you wouldn't necessarily expect. And then that's when this incredible dynamic unfolds. And of course, the thing about a lot of these sort of like makeover shows that makes it work is that you get to know the person's story. I mean, that's sort of like
Right.
the formula for all of the makeover shows, right? Whether it's this
Mm-hmm.
or I can't even think of other makeover shows like
Extreme
Extreme
Makeover.
Makeover.
That show was
I mean, going
that
back
show was
to,
wild.
I know it's true. It's true. Or what not to wear
Okay,
kind of
that's a
shows.
better example.
Yeah. I remember back when I used to watch Oprah on her talk show in the
Mm-hmm.
afternoons when I was like a kid, a teenager in college, and watching the makeover shows were always my favorite. But you get to know people's stories and like how they found themselves in these sort of ruts that they're in, right? Like
Yes.
that's what makes it interesting.
Maybe like you bought a green purse on discount and then it's the only purse you used for like 15 years.
For example, right? Like
I mean,
theoretically.
theoretically.
So, yes. So, the New Orleans stories in season, everything, like all of the stories are very touching. There's everyone from, like I said, these fraternity boys. There's a guy who's like an urban farmer. There's another guy who owns a deli and he's kind of like scruffy and rough around the edges. There's a school principal. There was my favorite story of the season. There's a woman who was incarcerated under extremely sus circumstances
Mm.
decades ago. and she's like a mom of 5, I think, and missed her children's growing up years. And now she runs like a charity, like nonprofit thrift store rehabilitation thing. Oh my gosh, I'm going to cry thinking about it. It was such a powerful episode. All of the episodes are good, but I have to say, I kind of, like I've said, I've kind of dabbled in and out of Queer Eye since the Netflix reboot. This is by far my favorite season of Queer Eye yet. Like, all of the stories are so powerful. So it was really awesome this week. I loved watching it. And Daisy watched it too. We didn't watch it together. We watched it separately. And so then we would like talk and compare our, reactions to the different people's stories and how it all turned out and stuff.
Oh,
So
that's so
it's
fun.
really good. I loved it. Yeah. So if you are looking for something good to watch, apparently I'm on Netflix's payroll now. I'm covert marketing for Netflix because it's been so many awesomes. But truly, this one was really good. And if you have watched it, I would love to hear your thoughts on it too. So those are awesomes of the week for Rebekah and myself. We would love to hear what is awesome in your life. Come and find us over in the Hangout group. We talk about awesome of the week every single Friday there, or come find us on Instagram. We would love to hear all about what's awesome in your life on Instagram. It's Sort of Awesome Show. So Rebekah and I are about to open up the old silly bank and see what's inside and see what we can share with you. Little confession style, especially for me. The things I'm like, oh my gosh.
Oh, I can't wait.
And also the silly from the awesomes. We've got all of that coming up when we come right back. We are back, and Rebekah and I are talking all things silly this week on Sorta Awesome, and just celebrating the fine art of silliness in ourselves, silliness in others. There's so much to appreciate. Rebekah, the thing that happened, the realization I had that made me think, like, this could be on the show. I like to think I'm a fairly educated person. I kind of have a sense of, this planet that we live on.
Sure.
I was unprepared for how much of an actual ding dong I am when it comes to geography, especially geography outside of the United States. Although sometimes in the United States, I get a little tripped up too. Last fall, as you may remember, the Queen of England, Queen Elizabeth, passed away.
Yes.
In the day leading up to that news coming out, there was all this coverage, all this news coverage, and they are, the family is coming in. And I remember them showing a car, I think it had Prince William and maybe at the time Prince Charles kind of pulling up. And I remember thinking oh my gosh, they got there so fast. I would have thought they would have taken a helicopter or a boat because she was at her castle in Scotland. And I was thinking that they, would be it would take them so long to get there. And then, I was like, you know what? I'm curious about how long would that trip be? And then I had to face the fact that I'm an idiot and forgot / never knew maybe that England and Scotland are two countries on the same island. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm actually stupid. I felt so silly because, well, first of all, this is literally my heritage. A lot of people of the white variety in the United States are I'm Scotch Irish or whatever. I mean, I literally am. My family, I have on my dad's side books of genealogy with where our home counties and places are in Ireland and Scotland. And I had it in my mind. I know Ireland is a separate island, and I had it in my mind. Scotland was too. And also, as you may know, Rebekah, one of my favorite fiction universes of all time is Harry Potter. And this is a spoiler for anybody. Can't spoil something that's decades old. Harry and the Weasleys, they go off to school at Hogwarts, which is in Scotland, and they get there by train. And in my mind, I think from London. They go from London to Hogwarts by train.
Okay,
the students do of
right.
Hogwarts. I think in my mind, I thought that it was like a magic train that just went over the water to get to Scotland. And I was like, This is this.
Where did you think it was? Like,
I thought it was like off the coast of England.
Oh.
Just up there somewhere.
I mean, like, geography
my
is
face
tricky.
is getting red all over again. Oh my
Geography is
gosh.
tricky.
Yes.
It's tricky. I actually have a story related to this. This isn't even my own like silliness, but it's kind of related in the fact that geography is tricky. And not to throw anybody under the bus, but we'll call this person Tate. So my friend,
this person, named Tate. Okay.
My friend, my very close buddy Tate. When we were in lockdown during the pandemic, I don't know how this came up, but we were talking about Antarctica. And he legit thought that there were people like living in regular community there the same way that we do here. As in going to stores like the equivalent of Target and like the library and like elementary schools. And I said, Tate, I was like, are you serious right now? It's insanely cold there. Like people live there who are doing research. Like scientists live there. He's like, well, yeah, I know that. I'm like, but they're not raising their families there. They're not going to church on Sunday. Like YouTube documentary footage of Antarctica for this 40-year-old man to realize that it's not like a thriving community there. Now,
That's so funny. I wonder if he was thinking like thinking of like Iceland or something where like people live. Like that's a place that people live. Like maybe he just got confused.
That's generous.
Or he was like
I did ask him, I was like, hey, if this comes up today on the podcast, because I told him what we were recording about, do you mind if I share it? And for those of you who haven't picked up on this, my husband's name is Nate. So anyway, he gave me permission and I replied back, are you sure? It's really embarrassing.
Oh, good old
geography is tricky. It's so tricky.
My gosh. I just was like, I remember this was so impactful on me. I remember specifically where I was. I was sitting in the parents' area of the twins were taking karate. And I was sitting there and I was like looking it up on my phone. And I remember being like so embarrassed just to myself in that moment. Just like nobody knew. Nobody would have ever had to know this if I didn't tell it. But I was like, oh my gosh, I am so silly. I cannot believe I did not realize. Same island, different countries. So yes.
That's hilarious.
The other silly thing that comes to mind that I did just like a couple of weeks ago, again, thankfully I was by myself. I don't even have to tell this story, but I had taken some laundry to our local laundromat to do the wash and fold service. And I had picked it up and I'd gone in with just my wallet. Speaking of like the whole purse conundrum, when you're running around and you have just like your keys in your wallet or whatever and your phone. So I had gone in with just my keys in my wallet, gotten the laundry, and then opened the back of the Suburban, put everything in there, closed it. And then I was going to go through McDonald's to pick up lunch for the kids. So I go through, make the order, pull up to the window. I'm just like messing on my phone, like you do in the drive-through. And I go to get my wallet and I'm like, oh, where's my wallet? And I didn't have it there in the, I usually have it like in little console. And so I was like, the person's waiting for the money. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm freaking out. Where's my wallet? Where's my wallet? And then I was like, oh, I bet it's in the laundry basket. And so I had to pop the back of the Suburban in the drive-thru line at McDonald's, pop the back of the Suburban, go back there, dig into the laundry basket. Thankfully, it was in the laundry basket.
Oh my goodness.
But I was just, of course it's like lunchtime at McDonald's. There's tons of people. And I'm just like, don't mind me, everybody. I can't keep track of my stuff.
They probably didn't even know what you were doing. Together. They're just like, what is she?
Nor did they probably even notice they were probably on their phones.
Probably. Oh, probably.
So that was a moment. I was feeling very silly, but also very thankful that it was in the trunk and that I didn't like leave it somewhere because I don't have a reliable purse like the one that I obviously need to now go get from Target. So, what are some silly things that came to mind for you? Some silly things you've done or thought or realized that you're like, oh my gosh.
Okay, so
Silliness.
just recently, my niece came over to pick out nail polish colors to wear to her eras? What? Eras. I'm saying it right? Now I'm having a silly moment.
Okay. I think we're talking about the same thing, the Eras Tour. Yes.
Okay. English is hard. So she wanted to do her nails in all the different colors to represent the different albums. And so she came over. Yes. Came to my house. Aunt Rebekah has the hookup. And so she came over, right?
Yes.
And I wanted to set the mood. I wanted to play some music that was, giving off the right vibe. So I decided to play a One Direction CD. I thought that seemed good. And yes, I said CD. I'm a digital grandma that I still have a CD player in my kitchen.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, that we use a lot. So, and I don't have any Taylor Swift. So anyway, I put this One Direction CD on. I thought this feels like that kind of vibe. I hit shuffle on the CD player. My niece comes over. She picks out the colors. We're talking about the tour.
Yeah.
And then after a while, she comments. She says, "We've been listening to the same song over and over and over again." Meg, she was at my house for 2.5 hours before we realized that we were playing the same One Direction song over and over.
Oh my gosh.
And over again.
That is hysterical. Was it just like on repeat on one song, just the one track, or was the CD itself just one song, like a single?
No, I had accidentally just shuffled the one song, which I didn't even know that I could do. Again, digital grandma. Like, how did I mess this up?
Oh my god!
I was just playing
for 2.5 hours.
Yes, and then my niece was like, "Well, at first I was like, I think I might have heard this. Oh, the song was around again." And then she's like, "Well, I guess One Direction songs all kind of sound a little bit like."
Oh no, but, like the One Direction slander right in Aunt Rebekah's kitchen.
But not that long ago, we had a birthday party at our house, and I put in Harry's House CD again, because I own Harry's latest CD, or latest album on CD. And I had shuffled it or to repeat over and over and over again. So I had just recently done that, and I thought, well, this is a good tactic, digital grandma, to repeat CDs. But I will say another moment that was a little bit alarming is there is a reference to some like bodily fluids in some of the lyrics of Harry's songs. And we were sitting with all of my in-laws sitting in my living room, and this song comes on, and there's a lull in conversation, and I was like, oh no, so loudly they are going to hear this really crass reference in this like so I just like started coughing to try to cover up the lyrics.
I'm sure you were panicked. Like you're thinking like, what can I do? Do I just throw myself on the floor? Do I just scream? Some kind of distraction.
It was so quiet at that moment. I was like, this is terrible. So anyway, I need to maybe stop trying to shuffle CDs like everybody else in the world has long let go of that tradition, because it's just not working anymore. But I have another
this is
silly.
Amazing. I love that in the world of, Spotify, Apple Music, all of the things that you're like, no, I will maintain my CD purity. And in this, choose for yourselves this day whom you will serve. But in our house, we will play the CDs.
I know. Maybe that should have gone on a confessions episode. I'm probably going to get roasted pretty bad, but...
No,
okay, so another thing that I can get roasted for, another very silly moment, is about a year ago, I have a friend of mine, a real life friend who is also a social media influencer. Her name is Donna. She took a trip to Disney and she was posting photos of her trip online. And one of the photos really confused me because she was at dinner with her family at Disney at the parks.
Okay.
But there was somebody in the photo that she had blocked their face. Like, you know how you cover people's faces sometimes online when you don't have permission to post their photo, especially kids, right?
For sure.
Well, Donna's an influencer. And so that's something that she would totally do, like pull up an emoji or like a sticker on Instagram and cover somebody's face. And I was so confused because I didn't understand who would be sitting with her at dinner. Like, who would have sat down at the table that she wouldn't have like permission to want to share their picture. So, Meg, I just sent you a text of the photo. I want you to
Oh no. Oh gosh.
I want you to look at the picture.
Okay. I'm scared. All right, let's see here. Oh my gosh. I know what it is. Was it maybe the giant, huge Donald Duck? I will say, and if we're going to put this on the video on YouTube, I will say, in your defense, it actually does look like a Donald Duck sticker that she put on somebody's face.
But it's like somebody dressed in costume as Donald Duck. It's
actually Donald Duck.
Like, as you would at Disney. And like, I'm telling you, I stared at this photo for way too long trying to figure out what stranger sat at their table on vacation that she doesn't want to show online. This is so weird.
Also, it's not just Donald Duck in his Donald Duck clothes. He's like in a safari. Are they at the Animal Kingdom, maybe? He's like in a safari outfit. Oh my gosh, this is so funny. I'm looking at it and I'm like, I actually, no, in your defense, I can see how you'd be like, what's happening in this picture? That is so funny.
I felt so silly when I realized, Rebekah, this is not an Instagram sticker. This is actually Donald Duck.
Did you ask her or did you just figure it out on your own?
No, I figured it out, but it took too long. It was embarrassing.
That is so funny. I love all these moments of silliness that we're just like, we could have just kept them to ourselves, but no, we're here to serve the awesomes. Speaking of the awesomes, wait, did you have any more? Okay. Speaking of the awesomes, here is a silly realization from Awesome Jennifer. She said, I thought I was good at geography. Look, here comes another geography one. But I am largely a West Coast girl with some Midwest, Southern, international experience. But I haven't visited north of New York City. It was only in recent years that I realized Maine, the state of Maine, isn't just a giant peninsula that is mostly covered and surrounded by Canada. I knew Canada was above New York and Vermont and New Hampshire, but somehow America-only maps, especially the ones growing up with those America-only puzzle maps, made it seem like Maine just sort of stuck out like Florida does all on its own. And then she said, check an America-only map to see what I mean. I was shocked to realize how wrong I was for so long. I looked at a map and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm the same way. Like, I had no idea. I thought that it was just like she said, like Florida, just like out there in the ocean.
You also
I did. I really did think that.
Until like this week?
Until I read this. Yes, I did. There are parts of the United States that I'm just like, no, I understand the Midwest and the West for the most part. I do. When it comes to the Northeast, I have no concept. I didn't know until I was a full grown adult. And I'm going to say this out loud. And I'm still not 100% sure that it's right, that Boston is actually north of New York City. Is that true? I don't know.
I'll be honest. I get it all mixed up. I really don't know. I live in a very close area to like Baltimore, Washington, D.C., New York City. I have no idea where any of them are.
Okay, yeah, Boston is north and east of New York City. I have no idea.
I mean, that makes sense because it's in, Boston, Connecticut?
Is it Massachusetts? Oh my God. People are unsubscribing right now as they're listening. They're like, no, I can't do it. I can't listen to these ding dongs anymore.
Cut that part out for the sake of our, I don't know.
Our dignity.
Yes.
Okay, I'm looking at a map of the Northeast right now, and every single time I look at it, it's like it's new to me all over again.
A new discovery.
Yeah, basically.
A new discovery
So, Jennifer,
on every longitude.
Literally. I'm right there with you. I also loved, this is switching gears a little bit. Awesome Melanie said that she felt silly when she realized that the song Big Green Tractor is not really about a tractor. This is a country song by Jason Aldean. I don't know it, but I looked it up, and just use your imagination. And no, she's right. It's maybe a little double entendre, a little euphemism there. So I thought that was really funny too.
Last night we were at my daughter's dance recital, and there was a group of kids that came out, and they were dancing to the song Locomotion. Everybody's doing a brand new dance now. Okay. And they were dressed in bib overalls.
Okay.
And they had a red bandana around their neck. And I was like, they kind of look like train engineers. And then I said, oh, locomotion, like a locomotive? I had no idea. I never put those two together. There's even a line in the song that like references trains. And oh
my gosh.
I completely missed that. I had no idea that's what that song was about.
I would love to hear, and I think we need to start a thread in the Hangout to hear other songs that you don't realize until like much later than you should. Like, oh, that's what the song is about. Those are always some fun epiphanies. But we had some other silly from the Awesomes. Rebekah, what else was in that mix?
Awesome Anna said, when I was an adult, when I found out that narwhals aren't just cartoon characters, but actual animals. I feel like this is a common one for people. I don't think she's alone in that one.
No, they look mythical, but they're real.
Jessica said...
Oh, go ahead. That's fine.
Jessica said, every night at dinner, we do smads and glads, where we each share one good thing and one bad thing from our day. And our youngest was in kindergarten before she realized that smad wasn't a real word.
Oh, that's so sweet. I love that. That's really cute. Okay, awesome Kelly, not Kelly Gordon, another awesome named Kelly said, when I was a kid, my grandpa told me that soy sauce was made from squished up bugs, and I believed that well into adulthood. Like, why do the adults in our lives do these things? I do not know.
We're a mess.
We're both struggling. Okay, this Mindy B. This is from Mindy Browse. This is so funny. Did you read this one yet?
This one's my favorite.
Okay. So this is from our Midlife with Mindy and Meg, sort of awesome regular Mindy Browse. So imagine her voice telling you this story.
I didn't realize that's who it was. That makes it so much better.
Yes, it makes it even better, right?
So I didn't have her last name on the list. I didn't know that's who it was.
No, I just put Mindy B. But it's Mindy Browse.
Okay.
She said that she felt really silly when I learned that Justin Timberlake was a singer and not a comedian. The night he opened the Academy Awards singing Can't Stop the Feeling. And I exclaimed to my family, look, OMG, he's covering the song and he's doing really well. And then she said, my teen kids were silent. And then my son said, who do you think that is, Mom? And she said, a comedian friend of Jimmy Fallon. He's always on the show doing a lot of skits. They all died laughing simultaneously, posting it on their Snapchat. Then they taught me about who Justin Timberlake really is. So now every time I see him, I say, look at that comedian making it big singing.
Oh, I'm crying. Oh, that's so funny. Oh, my word.
I could just imagine Mindy, you know, she's like so encouraging and supportive, even if, bless his heart, Justin Timberlake, he's out there, he's doing really good with that singing on stage.
Oh my goodness, I can't. It's so funny.
got such a kick out of that. Okay, we have even more silliness for you guys coming up when we come right back. Okay, we are back and we are talking all things silly. Rebekah and I had to take a little break during the commercials to dry our eyes, literally, from cry laughing. We are the cry laughing emojis as we talk about all this silliness today. One thing that maybe isn't quite so giggle worthy, but it is kind of like, it feels silly, but something that maybe we still do. Some of us have maybe some silly superstitions that we really do believe in, or for maybe if we don't like fully believe, we still like, just in case do the thing, or like little weird habits that we have. For example, there's the superstition of like knock on wood, like,
Yes.
you say a thing and you're like, I hope this is going to be the case, knock on wood. I don't know the origin of it, but like, I really fully believe, knock on wood, I will find whatever wood is close by, knock, 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 or even if there's nothing, I'll find some other substance, but the knocking has to happen to seal in the hopefulness, I guess. I don't even know where that came from.
I don't know either.
But I definitely, I have to practice that. The other one that I don't really know where it came from, but I will still do it. My kids think it's so weird and it doesn't happen a lot, but if I do spill salt on the table, or if anybody spills salt on the table, or if I spill a little while we're, baking or cooking or something, I'll throw a little pinch over the shoulder. And they're always like, what? And I'm like, I don't know. I didn't make the rules. I just know if you spill salt, you have to throw a pinch over your shoulder to keep away the bad luck. Apparently, I have a lot of luck beliefs ingrained in my mind, Rebekah.
Oh, it's so funny.
So I'm wondering if that's like kind of connected to some of these, because we asked the awesomes, like, what are some of the other superstitions? A number of people said that they hold their breath on bridges or going through a tunnel, maybe driving past a cemetery. I've never been a big breath holder one, but that one seems pretty common. So I thought that was interesting. Let's see, what else? What did some of the awesomes say about little superstitions or little weird habits that they might have?
Okay, so I don't know if this really counts as a superstition, but we're going to go with it. Kay says,
okay,
since I can remember, when writing anything, a paper for school, a note to someone, anything I wrote out by hand, I could not have just one word on a line by itself. I'd always make sure to have at least 2 words on a line. I've always done this because I felt sorry for the last word and I didn't want it to be alone. I don't do it with text or emails, just when the words are written out by hand.
Oh my gosh, that is so funny. She didn't want the little words to be alone.
Because she felt bad. That reminds me of, so this little piggy, little nursery rhyme that we would say as kids. Okay, so this little piggy went to market, this little piggy stayed home, this little piggy had roast beef, and this little piggy had none. I always hated that. I felt so bad for the little piggy who didn't get to eat any. And so I changed the words. Okay. So now it's this little piggy had roast beef and this little piggy said yum.
Oh, that's so good. I like that.
I don't even know if my kids know that that's not the way it's supposed to be. I don't know if they know the right words, but that's all I ever said to them. This little piggy said yum because I felt bad for that fictional piggy.
I have a similar one, and I haven't thought about this in a long time. But you know the song "Rockabye Baby" and the treetop?
Yes. That sounds
when the
terrible.
wind blows. Yeah, the red cradle will rock. The baby, at the end, I can't even remember how it goes, but at the end, the baby
down will
comes
come
down,
baby, cradle and all.
Cradle and all.
Yeah.
I didn't like that either as a kid, nor as an adult with my own children. So I changed the words to, so I changed the words to down will come baby into my arms. So
that doesn't fit.
It was a little bit, I made it fit, Rebekah. And so our children will go off into the mean, cruel world out there, and they'll be reciting these nursery rhymes someday, and people are going to be like, that's not how that goes. They'll be like, yes, it is. That's how my mother sang it to me or said it to me my whole life. Going back to Kay's about the writing things, feeling a little silly, like a little bit superstitious. I have a thing. I don't even know if it's a superstition or just like a weird mental habit of mine. I don't know how to label this or categorize it, Rebekah. It is kind of a silly thing. I have this thing where I can't start a new, like if I need to finish doing one thing and start the next, I can't do it until the clock is on the fives.
No.
On a 5.
No.
So, yes. This is silly, right? And weird.
Like, give an example. Like if you're cleaning up the kitchen and you want to go do a load of laundry, you can't do it until the clock is...
No. I guess I probably wouldn't. It would be more like, I've never thought about it. I've never thought about it that way. But let's just say like I'm doing some email and then I'm like, you know what? I'm going to take a break and read my book for a little bit. I would not pick up my book and start reading until the clock was on the 5, whatever the next 5 was. I know. It's weird. But I have done this since I was a kid when I would look at my little watch and be like, okay, maybe that's why. Maybe because like when a wristwatch, like it's on the 5, you can kind of clearly see what time it is. I don't know when I started doing this.
Okay.
But it is something I do to this day.
That's starting to make more sense. That if you're looking at like an analog watch and you're little and you're thinking to yourself, I'm going to just take a 10-minute break, or I'm going to stop and do something else. You're like, well, let me just wait till it gets to like a 5, because then how else am I going to be able to tell the time, how much time has gone?
I don't know.
That kind of makes sense.
So weird and silly. It's
very silly.
But it makes sense in my mind.
Yeah.
It makes sense in my mind. Like, okay, now
I can go.
It's like my own school bell goes off. Like, okay, now I can switch activities. But I guess the weird thing is, it's funny that you mentioned like if you're cleaning up the kitchen, if it's not something where I'm like kind of like if I'm more in the moment and I'm not really paying attention to the time, then I don't do it. But more often than not, I do check to see what the time is to wait for the next 5.
It's fascinating.
So silly.
So Melanie says,
okay, let's get back to the awesomes.
So Melanie says, if I'm making a sandwich and I want cheese and mustard, but they can't touch, I don't know why, but it just won't work for me if they touch. So she's making a sandwich.
Interesting.
But she can't have those two things touching within the sandwich.
Yeah.
Is that the understanding?
Okay. I can see that. I would not do that. I'm not that organized, I think, in my sandwich making. But maybe she's saying like, like the meat's got to go in between or other sandwich fixins. Got to keep the cheese and mustard separated. When I was a kid, I ate cheese and mustard sandwiches by themselves, just like cheese and mustard on the sandwich.
Nate does that.
So,
I think it's also kind of strange. It's cheese and mustard sandwich. He does it all the time.
Yep.
So Mindy also shared a superstition. She says, I twitch every time I'm walking with someone and we separate temporarily due to an item, like just like a pole or a trash can or something. And I'll avoid it if I can, because the belief is that something will come between you and that person now. And she just doesn't want that to happen.
Oh, that's so interesting. I've never heard of that particular superstition. The twins are 10, and they are both definitely in that age where they really, truly do believe the superstition of step on a crack, break your mother's back. And they're extremely worried about this.
That's a traumatic one if they really believe it. Oh, no.
Why are so many kids' things like so brutal, like falling out of trees and breaking your mother's back on accident? But Mac and I were running errands the other day, and we went to Costco, and I think it was we were in the parking lot. We were somewhere walking, and he was like jumping and like making all these crazy moves, and I was like, "What are you doing?" He was like, "I can't step on any cracks. I don't want to break your back." I'm like, okay, it's not that serious. I'm fine. Thank you for your concern.
Parkouring through the Costco.
Yes. Bless his sweetheart out of concern for his poor decrepit mother.
It's hilarious.
Oh my goodness. But yeah, so many of these do come from when we're kids. And it's just like you just kind of start believing them. I love that awesome Linda Marie said, I believe that seeing a lizard is lucky. And she said, I live in the desert, so I'm always looking for them. I've never heard that, lucky lizard, but now I'm going to be on the lookout for lizards too. I never see lizards in Oklahoma. Do you guys ever have lizards just running around free in the
No.
wild?
My neighbor has a lizard. One time I went outside and she was holding a random
A
lizard.
pet?
Yes.
Oh my
But that
gosh.
was that
Okay.
was surprising.
Yes. Big surprise. Okay, well, we have a few more silly items to discuss. We wanted to talk about, just especially Rebekah, you are our reigning queen and encourager of loving what we love. Sometimes people think that the things that we love are silly, but that's okay. So we're going to
Mhm.
get into that when we come right back. Okay, we are back. And Rebekah, truly, we've talked about this at length on Sort of Awesome. We've talked about it in the Superstars feed. Sometimes the things that we love, people think that they're silly. This particularly seems to happen when it's something that teenage girls or even grown women are into. It kind of gets the collective side eye of like, oh my gosh, that's so silly. I know for me, one thing that I really genuinely love that some people might think is silly is like makeup and lipstick, especially. And on the surface, like I realize it is kind of silly, but at the same time, like I really do love it and it makes me so happy.
Well, yeah.
So,
I,
yeah.
I mean, I
Yeah.
feel like everything that I love is stuff that people would think is really silly, from nail polish to an obsession with Harry Styles, next boy band member, romance novels. I mean, it's a pretty long repertoire of things that are easily looked down on. But
It's so interesting because it's like, it's almost as if, like in our culture, if something isn't serious, if it is
yes.
silly, then it's like not worth somebody's enthusiasm or affection or something.
It
It's
needs to be
weird.
dignified. Almost like it being
Yes.
like just for kicks and silly, just for the joy of it makes it immature and therefore you're immature. Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
I would say
I don't
that
like
one
that.
thing that I absolutely love and cannot get enough of are puns. I think that puns are one of my most favorite things.
Yes.
I got a
I
birthday card recently from a college friend. She sent me a birthday card. The picture on the cover was a bowl of sherbet, like different kinds of
okay.
ice cream, and it
Yeah.
said, "Hey, Shoddy, it's sherbet day."
Oh my gosh. And I bet you probably laughed just like that the first time you read it. Now you're thinking about it again.
It's from Trader Joe's. Everybody should buy it for somebody who grew up in the
Definitely.
90s and the 2000s. Is just absolutely hysterical. And like those shirts that say like okay, oh no.
Or beach, please. I know
Yes.
that you get a
Okay.
kick out of
Okay.
beach, please.
So here's a story is that I own a tank top that says on it, beach please. And I bought it and brought it home and started wearing it. And it wasn't until my husband pointed out to me that it was a pun and that it's not simply requesting to go to the beach, but instead it's more like, beach please. I was like, oh shoot. But I still wear it all the time. I don't know how I messed it up. I love puns, and I didn't even realize it was a pun.
Oh, that's so precious and innocent. I love it. I'm reading a book by James Geary called Wit's End. And it's just like it's kind of an examination of the art of wit and wittiness. And he has a whole chapter at the beginning of the book about puns and how some people are like, oh, puns are the lowest form of humor, but that actually you have to engage a lot of brain power, intelligence, quick-wittedness to be able to create puns, and that they're absolutely not the lowest form of humor. They're actually quite a high form of humor. So I hope you feel justified in your lifelong love of puns.
Thank you. I appreciate
It's
that.
actually a sign of intelligence.
Except for when you don't realize
So
it,
good.
that you accidentally brought
Yeah.
some
It
profane
sometimes you
puns into
accidentally.
your
Oh my goodness. Another thing that I have loved since I was little that are, I know it's kind of silly, but I love ghost stories. To this day,
Yes,
I
you
am a grown woman
do.
I'm in my mid 40s, and even to this day, like if I see there's a new podcast comes across my feed, like Spotify loves to recommend podcasts to me, and if there's a new ghostly podcast, I'm like, oh, I have to listen to this like right now. I just love ghost stories so much. Not so much like ghost movies or ghost shows. Like I like to hear people telling stories of ghostly encounters. I love it so much. I know it's a little silly, but I just can't get enough of them. So there's that.
I really love autocorrect errors. If you want to get me, I cannot read through a compilation of autocorrect errors without eventually crying from laughing so hard. And it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if they're faked. It doesn't matter if they're staged. I don't care. There's something about accidentally sending somebody like a swear word or some poop humor,
Yes.
bathroom humor,
Yes.
or something. I can't help it. They make me laugh so hard. I have one to share with you. Look, I
Oh,
looked for ones that I could share. There's a lot of them are like not appropriate because
of course.
they're
Yes.
like you're accidentally saying something inappropriate.
Yeah, yeah.
But this one, first person says, I love thunder so much, which honestly, relatable. I love a good thunderstorm.
Yeah.
And the reply back
Yes.
is, I know, me too, except when it makes my dog bark. So usually only when I'm outside. And the other person replies back, my dad barks too. We have to comfort him. And the person replies, I'm so sorry. I imagine his manly vocal cords cause much more commotion than a small dog. And then they reply back to like much later. They came back to the conversation much later and said, oh, did you mean dog? I said,
Oh, that poor
it's
dad's out there barking at the thunder again.
it's not even that funny, but it tickles me so much. You just read through
Yes.
like 50 of these and I'm like on the
Oh, yeah.
floor. Like I cannot handle it.
I love them too. There's something that's just silly about misuse of language that I don't know. It will get me cackling every time, for sure.
Every single time.
Oh my. Some of the ones from our awesomes, Mindy again chimed in that she loves watching the Fat Bears. She's talked about this in the Midlife with Mindy and Meg series. She loves watching the Fat Bears in Katmai Live Cam at explore.org and campaigning for her favorite fat bear during Fat Bear Week. So, hey, I don't think that's silly. I think it's wildly fascinating. I love it.
Kelly says, my favorite dates with my husband include getting a drink, be it cocktail, coffee, whatever, and then playing board games or card games for hours. Something simple. Other people
Love.
might think it's silly, but it brings them so
Yes.
much joy.
Yeah, totally. I like that. Awesome. Kristen said, oh, speaking of dogs, this one isn't barking at thunder. Kristen said, I like to dance with my dog. He is a big goofball and he starts jumping around and gets into it. Sometimes I even do it in public, which feels a little silly, but it just makes me really happy. If I saw Kristen dancing with her dog in public, I would be like, I want to get in on that. That
I
sounds
want a
so
demo.
fun. Yes, 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 please.
Jessica says, I don't know if this is silly or weird. Maybe it's even totally normal, but I prefer to go to the movies by myself. I used to feel really silly and even awkward going up to the box office and saying ticket for one, but it's so nice now that I can buy my own solo ticket online.
Loving that for you, Jessica. I'm like, have I ever gone to the movies by myself? I don't know that I have, but now I kind of want to. I don't think it's even silly or weird. Like, especially if there's a movie like you really want to go and you really want to like actually experience it and you're not having to like take care of kids next to you or
hmm
people like to talk to you during the movie. Like, I can totally see that. for
So
sure.
Isaac is my youngest, is going to be in full day school tomorrow or not tomorrow. He's going to be in full day school next year for the very first time.
Yes.
All my kids will be in full day school because he previously was in
Rebekah.
half day kindergarten. I am putting
Yes.
going to the movies on my bucket list for
There you
next school
go.
year. I think that sounds like a fabulous way to spend an afternoon.
Love it. Thank you. Jessica's out here inspiring us with something that she thought might be a little silly. Okay, last one. This one I loved so much when I read it. This is from Awesome Alicia, who said, I've always felt somewhat embarrassed about this, and it definitely makes me feel silly, but I almost exclusively prefer reading children's books. It started when my kids were small, but they are all almost out of high school now, and I still sometimes go to the library or bookstore just to browse the children's books. I sometimes feel at a loss when my friends are discussing new books they have read, but the upside is I always give really good gifts at baby showers. I know all the best children's books.
Oh, that's so
Oh.
sweet.
I love that. I love that. Children's books are amazing. Like, I relate to this so much
They really
because
are.
they're really like, you think it's something so kind of simplistic, but there's so many children's books, both classics and modern ones, that when you're reading it as an adult, you're like, oh my gosh, this is like I'll start crying, or like maybe there's like little jokes, and then there's like the illustrations that go along with it. Like, some of them are pretty awesome. Okay, Alicia, like, I get this.
She needs to
For
write up
sure.
a list of recommendations for us.
Ooh, that would be good. That would be so
We
good.
need to tap
So,
into these silly interests of our awesomes, celebrate them.
right? It might seem silly to you, but honestly, like, look at how many of these are actually bringing something good to the world. I think, is that our takeaway, Rebekah? Is that
I
a
think
good place
so.
for us to wrap this up?
I think so.
Okay, well, this has been our deep dive into silly and our strong encouragement to keep the awesomes silly, even if you, well, feel a little silly doing it. Rebekah, if people want to find you all around the web to talk silliness or interests or crossbody bags, just where can we find you if we need to have extended conversation with you?
Well, my website is simplyrebecca.com, and the place I hang out the most on social media would be Instagram. You can find me there and everywhere at Simply Rebecca.
Okay. And you can find me on social media at Sorta Awesome Meg. You can find the show by searching Sorta Awesome wherever you are. We would love to have you there. Don't forget to come and join one of our communities. We would be so happy to welcome you in this summer. Now is a great time to do that. So awesome. Thanks so much for listening. We'll see y'all next time.